Good evening to you and welcome back to Checkpoint. We are glad you are watching this evening. Our conversation is all about the back and forth we've been witnessing around the status of the stocks of maize in the country. Want to listen to a soundbite, the CS Agriculture, Mwangi Kiunjuri, speaking a little bit earlier on the same today.
The issue of whether there is maize in the country or not is not a debate. The issue is about scarcity. And any market is about demand and supply. If the demand is high, the prices goes high. If there is shortage, the prices will go high. If there is a lot in the market, the prices goes down. So the issue we are discussing here is not whether there is maize in the country or not. What we are talking of is that there is no enough maize in the market. But still, there will be maize. And what will happen is that the maize that is there, the flour, the price of flour will be determined by the price of maize. And if maize is selling at 4,000, then the flour will sell at 130. And soon, the flour will sell at 140. To this flour, I have indicated, I have not said that we are importing. I'm saying there is need to import so that the UGA prices should stop skyrocketing.
Agriculture CS Kiunjuri there saying the ministry's proposal is that Kenya imports maize because her stock is running out, and this will lead to an increase in prices of 2 kg pack of maize flour right now retailing, according to the CS, 130 shillings. By next month, he says it may go up to 150 if nothing is done about that. He also did indicate that the decision to import or not is before cabinet. However, several voices have come to oppose that call by the CS, including the former Prime Minister, leaders from the North Rift, and my guest this evening, who is the chairman of the Strategic Food Reserve Trust Fund, Noah Wekesa. Thank you, sir, for making time for Checkpoint tonight. I suppose before we get into just all of the contradictions, what you're saying, what the CS is saying, let's begin with the Strategic Food Reserve. For those who may not understand what your institution does, what's your mandate?
Yes, thank you. Many people don't understand what Strategic Food Reserve institution is all about. It was formed in 2015 by government, and as it, the government must have known there is Ministry of Agriculture, but this institution was given a specific mandate to make sure that at any one time there is food for Kenyans. Now, I have 4 directors from Ministry of Interior, Ministry for Devolution, Agriculture, and Ministry of Finance. Those are my directors from government. 5 directors are chosen from stakeholders, farmers, people with knowledge in grain sector. I have Gerard Masila, who is the chairman, and you've met him, the chairman of the East African Grain Association. People who know about the industry of maize. Now, our mandate was specific to make sure that at any one time the government has enough food to last 1 month. Should we have a catastrophe, drought or whatever, we should have enough food. That's one. The second one is that we must make sure that the food we have is good for human consumption. That is the quality of the maize is okay. And also to ensure that the maize is stored in proper conditions so that it can last at least for 2 years.
Right. And the Strategic Food Reserve, you've mentioned you have these directors from the various ministries, but the Ministry of Agriculture is essentially the parent ministry for the same, isn't it?
You're quite right. The Ministry of Agriculture is the administrator of the fund.
Okay.
But the most interesting thing is that although they are administrator of the fund, they cannot spend even 1 shilling without authority from the board.
Okay.
We make the resolutions. We tell them what we need, and because of the fact that we don't have enough staff, the accountants and all the other support staff is within the Ministry of Agriculture.
Okay.
So the PS is the administrator.
Right.
And also the PS is an ex-official and is also a member of our board. So there is a problem there also.
Okay, but let's get to the crux of the matter. Kenyans watching, farmers around the country, when they hear the cabinet secretary saying we are facing a crisis, we need to import maize, and the man in charge of ensuring that at any given time, as you mentioned, we have enough food says we have enough food, we do not need to import, we have enough maize. So what is going on, sir?
First of all, I think let me make it very clear.
Yes.
As Strategic Food Reserve Board, we have not said we are not importing.
Okay.
In fact, our position is that we can import, say, 2 million bags. We have made that proposal.
Right.
That if we have to import, not more than 2 million bags. And this is based on facts that we have in our office. We work very closely with the University of Nairobi. We work very closely with Tegemo Institute, people who have experts in matters of food production, particularly maize production. Now, our figures are that as we speak now, we have 2,700,000 bags of maize in our stores today. And we believe that this maize can take us to August, perhaps mid-August, and which means we really do not need the sort of figures that the Ministry of Agriculture has been talking about. From that clip, you can see that the minister is now in between importing a lot of maize and not so much maize. He wasn't very clear, but he told everybody who cares to listen that we needed 12.5 million bags. Recently, he has said we need 19 million bags. I had called a meeting of millers a week ago at Bomas of Kenya, and one of his representatives gave a speech after me, having listened to me saying that we may need 2 million bags, and he came up on the podium and said, we need to import 12.5 million bags. And in fact, he said, we are putting an advert in the newspaper on Monday, that's today.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, to tell the people who care to import maize to import maize. Where they're getting the figures, I don't know. Our experience and our research shows that the millers that we have in the country, they can only mill 1.5 million bags per month. And if they do that, the price will remain the same.
Okay.
If they don't get that 1.5 million bags, obviously the price may go up. But
yeah.
as I speak now, we have 2.7 million
bags of maize.
Yes.
But that's still, you know, it is a confusing situation, because you say you have the expertise, the teams have gathered the information to say that we have enough maize if we must, in your words, import, it's about 2 million bags. That's the same thing the CS is saying, that they have the experts. In fact, when he castigated you for insubordination, he was arguing that the ministry is the last word, that a state agency should not contest, should not oppose what ministry says. That's the final word. So what do you say to that? Because now Kenyans are being told, we have the figures, we need to import, we really don't need to import. So what is the Kenyan out there to do and make of all of this?
Well, Kenyans ought to know what our mandate is. Our mandate is that we must make sure that Kenyans have enough food, that is maize, at any one time. If we don't have that, we should have the money. We should have the money in case we have to import. It's either we have enough maize or we have enough money to import. But let me put it this way. Where is the minister getting 12 million bags? How are you going to bring in 12 million bags when in 2 months' time, me and all the farmers listening to me, in 2 months we'll be harvesting maize? This country has experienced problems in maize, and I'm sure that's why the government formed the Strategic Food Reserve Board, just to make sure that we monitor the price of maize and the quantities of maize, the optimal maize that we need. And we have advised government, I've advised the government that we need 2 million bags. And this comes from a lot of research.
So have you met the minister? Because you said, have you met the minister? You said in a press conference with the North Rift leaders the other day that you had gone to see him, to pass some information to him. He kept you waiting, I think 2 hours. You went to see him again, another 3 hours kept you waiting. So are you saying the minister has refused to see you to get this information you have?
Actually, that was taken out of context.
Right.
This was last year, when he had just come in, and we wanted to see him.
Okay.
And on 3 occasions, I went to his office to see him, and I couldn't see him. But to say that we don't work with the minister is not right, because on our board, we've got his permanent secretary, who sits on our board.
Right.
And every time we make decisions in the board, he's told the same day.
Okay.
He's informed immediately.
All right.
And we work very closely.
Yeah.
We make sure that we put everything in writing.
All right. I want us to take...
We have also told him that we need 2 million bags.
I want us to take a quick break. Yes. And then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about just what then happens going forward. And to the question you raised, and we've had other leaders speak to the same, that why 12.5 million bags of maize. And important note on that as well is we did invite the CS Kiunjuri to speak on the same, and what he indicated is that the matter is before cabinet on whether to import or not, and that he has said enough on the issues so far, some of which we've played for you tonight. Stay with us, we'll be right back.